Part 4. So yesterday I started typing. I've been typing as I've been telling. But yesterday I just started typing, and I'm going to read what I have written about part 4. Here goes. Waking up the next morning after finding out I was pregnant was a feeling of meaning, purpose, and completion. I knew this baby was also a gift from God, given at the most perfect time. During the time of pregnancy, I was an emotional roller coaster, and that was an understatement. One day I was happy, the next I felt like someone was out to get me or my child, unborn child. Like I had a fear, a crazy fear that someone was going to try to take him away from me. I later in life realized that all of these emotions were because of the state of depression that I was still in from my mother's passing. Feelings of doubt, sorrow, unworthy, just plain sadness. I experienced these feelings here and there throughout the pregnancy. It was very emotional, very up and down. We made it. Fast forward. So we are now finding out that we are having a boy. And I'm going to say that was around 18 to 20 weeks. We found out we were having a son. Shortly after that, at 24 weeks, I was at work at GDC. I was working midnights. I was swollen, like so unbelievably swollen. It was later February, and my birthday's in February, and I had just got my license renewed. When I seen the picture, wow, I realized just how fat I was. And I remember making that comment to my aunt. I was like, oh my God, I am so fucking fat. And she was like, Des, you're pregnant, honey. It's fine. Anyway, so I was working at midnights at GDC. I just got my license renewed. I realized I was swollen. I was sitting with a one-on-one client. So, they were sleeping, and when they had a one-on-one status, we had to sit within an arm's length of them. So like right beside their bed. And I was sitting by someone's bed. And I was feeling so much pressure on my feet, like they hurt so bad. I called the nurse that was on call, and she told her I wasn't feeling well, and if she could check my blood pressure because maybe she asked, I'm not sure why. I don't know that I told her I wasn't feeling well. She came and checked my blood pressure. Let's see. Sitting down, my blood pressure was 150 over 100. So she said, stand up, let me get another one. So I stood up, it went to 168 over 104, and she immediately took me off the floor and made me go lay down in the clinic. She made me lay on my right side because she said the main artery runs down the left side of your body. So laying on your right side takes pressure off of that. And after just a few minutes, my blood pressure had went back to a semi-normal state, and she sent me home. She did tell me if I had any type of tunnel vision to pull over, call 911, because my blood pressure was high enough to cause seizures. I made it home, everything was fine. The next day, I seen the doctor. I was given the diagnosis of preeclampsia and toxemia. So I became toxic in my pregnancy at week 24. Let's see. So the next 6 weeks until delivery, I delivered Braden at 30 weeks and 4 days gestation. My last Holzer hospital visit during my pregnancy was the very end of March. At that appointment, I was transferred to OSU due to my protein being so high that it was causing damage to my kidneys. Over the next 9 days, I did a repeated urinalysis every 24 hours to continuously monitor the protein levels in my urine. On April 5th, 2003, the doctor came in and said, well, how do you feel about an early delivery? And I said, well, I thought that's what we were preparing for. At this time, I was in Columbus at OSU. I was alone. No one was around me, and I just got told I was going to have a baby 10 weeks early, and the chances of him having to be intubated upon birth was very high. My anxiety was skyrocketing. I called Mike hysterical. He and his dad were on their way to see me. I gave the news that the baby was coming. Michael and several of our family members arrived at the hospital. The induction process has begun. My body was not responding to the medication. Therefore, I was not progressing with labor. I sat this way for 24 hours and still my cervix had just started to soften. Now, mind you, I'm only 30 weeks and 4 days gestation. My body knew he wasn't ready. Being the next day, April 6, 2003, early afternoon, my blood cells had dropped and the anesthesiologist recommended placing the epidural part even though we weren't ready for the medicine yet. The next thing I remember, doctors were everywhere and all I kept hearing is, that's her heart rate we're picking up. And all of a sudden they realized it was not my heart rate, but it was the heart rate of my son. And it was at 61 beats per minute for a solid 6 minutes. I'm not sure exactly how the next few minutes happened. All I remember was seeing the lights on the ceiling rushing past me as I was being rushed to the OR for an emergency C-section. Now, I'm in the bed, laying down, and I'm being, we were running down the hallway. So the lights on the ceiling were just like, shoo, shoo, shoo. Terrifying. Michael was right by my side. Once he got there, he never left me until Braid came out. The doctors got him out, laid him on my stomach. He was the most precious gift I had ever been given. He was tiny, so tiny. He could fit in the palm of your hand. He was born at 1656. He was weighing 3 pounds 1 ounce, and he was 16¼ inches long. He had a head, a body, full of coal black hair, and his skin was iridescent. He was almost see-through. You could see the veins running under his skin. He was so perfect, and he came out crying, which means he was breathing. They quickly took him from me, and he and his daddy left me and went to the NICU. I didn't get to see him again until the next day. Michael and I had already agreed upon his name, and because I was unable, Michael got to name him Braden Michael Lies. He's our biggest blessing. The next 8 weeks, Braid spent in the NICU growing and getting stronger every day, while Mama stayed in a motel right around the corner. The first 4 weeks, I was with him every second I was allowed to be. The second 4 weeks, I drove from Hamden, Ohio to Columbus, Ohio, 2 to 3 times per day. I hated to leave him. However, I didn't have the option. Like when quiet time hits in the NICU, you have to leave. The time has come for us to bring him home. Now he's 8 weeks old, but still only 38 weeks gestation. He's weighing 6 pounds 6 ounces at this time. he was still wearing preemie clothes. The next few weeks, we all, family, friends, learned how to have a brand new bundle of joy around. This is a time in my life that was not easy. I had no clue how much love I would have for him. Having your own child is a love I think to be indescribable. I didn't receive that as a child, so I wasn't aware of how I would feel for a child. I was meant to be a mother. I was very greedy when it came to him. I didn't want to share. I wanted no one, and I mean no one, to question anything I did, my love, my commitment to him. The behavior of mine caused a lot of animosity for the people who loved us most. I, however, didn't see it that way, nor did I care, to be honest. Fast forward to July 4th, 2003. Michael and I became one. We got married at the courthouse in MacArthur, Ohio. His dad and my father were the two witnesses. His mom was also present. Once we said I do, we went out for a nice meal at the Jackson Ponderosa, which is no longer here, but 20 plus years ago, it was a pretty good place to eat. The days ahead get rough, and I mean rough. Depression hits hard. I go back to work at GDC, which is also very emotionally draining job. Mike and I are pushing through, but it's not good. We fight hard. Not all the time, but a majority of the time. Braden grew up listening to us bicker and argue, scream, cuss at each other. Things I wish I could change, but I can't. You can't go back. All people go through struggles. Maybe not the same kinds of struggles, even if they don't ever choose to share them. One of the most common causes in divorce today is finance, and how Michael and I dodged that bullet of divorce, I have no clue. Our finances were shit, and I mean shit. We both have always worked and been sufficient providers. However, our money management skills needed major work. Michael was working at a local coal mine since we met. He had worked there for 10 plus years before he decided to better himself with hours that were more family friendly at Rumpke. Mike worked here for a couple years before he got another great offer, or what appeared to be, from a company in Columbus making sufficiently more money. Everyone loves more money, right? Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily over their own happiness. So 10 months in, Michael made a decision to go back to Rumpke with a different title, but also a significant pay cut. Rumpke is where Michael is still employed today. I, however, started GDC July of 2002, but because immediately after I started, I found out I was pregnant, and being a high-risk pregnancy, I was off work a lot. So once I returned to work after having Braid, my official hire date changed to March of 2003. I remained at GDC. I remained at GDC for the next 13 years. I met my lifelong bestie, Chrissy, while being at GDC. I also have a handful of people that I was blessed to keep in my life after my time at GDC, and one of those people being a lady named Molly. She was a supervisor, not necessarily my direct supervisor, but definitely a superior to me in the workplace. She quickly became one of my very favorite people. Her and I just clicked. We have vacation numerous times together, no matter how long her and I go without seeing each other. When we do see each other, we pick up right where we left off. She is a lifer for me. I love her a long time. The next person that I was blessed with, another God-given person, is my lifelong bestie, Chrissy. She and I started working the same shift together. We were known as the relief pool, meaning we chose a different area to work every day. We didn't have a home base. Like, we went into work and we worked somewhere different every day. We got to choose somewhere different every day. Before we knew it, we were choosing to work together daily. Like, her and I became really close, really quick. She is another constant in my life. She has been my best friend for over 20 years at this point. Her and I have had so many memories together, from work buddies, drinking, boating, talking every day. We still do talk every day. And our latest bestie concoction, she has been blessed with 2 grandchildren this year. And to say that she is willing, or more like demanding me to be a part of her and their lives, is more important to me than she will ever know. She is my lifelong bestie. And that is going to sum up my part 4. Part 5 is going to go more in depth of the time at GDC. And please stay tuned. I hope you all have a great day.